Michael, it seems that, I mean, you've done a lot of things, but not that many. I mean, there's only one studio album, right? Or, well, there's two studio albums. There's Tip of the
Oh,
Iceberg.
no, those weren't studio albums. They were packaged and made up in the factory. But I'm the one that packaged it and made it into it.
But you have Michael Iceberg Does It Live, which is
Yes.
your first album.
That was engineered by my friend Sam Zampino and designed by Frank Murray. I almost said Arthur Murray Frank. And they both did it for nothing. And I've never repaid them. And I would if I could, because they're such beautiful people. The Iceberg Does It Live was recorded with a Tascam 8-track machine, but we only used 2 tracks. And then moved to a half-track. Because all my recordings were none of my records were ever made like finalized. You know, when you make a disc and you finalize it and all those things. Mine were just home mixes down into 2 tracks. I had to sing the songs I sang live to my tracks, but I was mixing and singing simultaneously. I never did a studio album. Quote studio. I mean, I never got to that. Nobody ever asked me, and I never did. But
So Iceberg Does It Live was
1978.
And that was that a bits and pieces, or was that one pass?
That was. I think it may have been bits and pieces of shows, of a few different shows. I'm pretty sure it was, because I think Sam Zambito put it together out of, like this fanfare going with this. But I can't say that for sure. He may have just done several shows and then used the best one.
It seems pretty seamless.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then, it probably is. We really weren't intending it to be around for 35 years, which it has been. 35 years.
Is that all?
Is that all? Oh, man.
Now that was vinyl, and of course,
It went vinyl.
And yeah, there was nothing else. There wasn't even cassettes at the time you first recorded that, was there?
Well, years ago, I made cassettes. I made cassettes after I made albums. I sort of made cassettes, like I made cassettes. IBM had a cassette made to give out to the people who came to events. And Xerox did too.
Do those cassettes live anywhere, or do they exist?
Probably somebody has them.
But you don't.
I don't, no. I also made a Christmas album.
That does exist.
Yeah, well, that's because of Mike Novak, a gentleman from Ohio, Mike and Marilyn Novak, sent me a copy of Homemade Christmas that I made.
So there's more out there. There's more of you out there than you have.
Oh yes, there's more music out there that I possess. I don't have it. I actually, in February of 2007, all was lost, all memorabilia. And as a matter of fact, just so it turns out that nothing's been lost, because everything I want, I found. And all these wonderful people on my website have brought out these pictures and newsletters and made me remember such wonderful, happy times. And I feel so good because they have been so warm and friendly and have made me feel so useful. Like, Thomas the Tank Engine. You may not, because you didn't have little children at the time of Thomas the Tank Engine. But he wanted to be a useful engine, as I do. And I play every morning at this assisted living community, and I'm really having a great time. I do musical journeys where I just play from place to place, wherever my fingers take me.